Hey guys, on this channel we've discussed the firearms thing before, the gun thing before, and we've discussed common sense, and we've discussed conspiracy theories, and we've discussed paranoia, and a whole heap of other similar topics. Just finished watching a documentary that just shows what happens when the worst of those things come together. The story was that there was a father and son, and the father and son lived together alone. The mother had left, understandably actually. But basically the son had some problems. He was dyslexic and he had some other issues. But his main problem was his father. And his father was a paranoid, he still is. He was interviewed as part of this documentary. But he's a paranoid, delusional conspiracist, basically. Totally convinced that the city he lived in, he was going to try and sue his city. He threatened to sue the city for something because they weren't teaching his son well enough, or they weren't taking care of his son's special needs or something. So he threatened to sue the city. So he said because of that, and he still believes this shit, that because of that, the city officials and the police and some people that work for some private company and basically anybody at all that caused him any grief at all were all in on a big conspiracy to try and make him go away, basically. So everything bad that happened in his life was all part of this big conspiracy that everybody was out to make his life difficult and make him go away. And he obviously programmed his son with the same shit. And his son, instead of being guided to take responsibilities for his own actions, which we've talked about on other videos as well, he convinced his son that everything that his son did wrong was someone else's fault. So his son stabbed some guy at school. When he was in junior high school, he stabbed some guy in the leg with a knife. And the father was totally convinced that that was the result of these two other guys being responsible for it. That they'd done something to make him responsible, that they were responsible for it, that it wasn't his son's fault. And everything that his son did to break the law, and then the police came, then the son threatened the neighbours with a knife. So the police came and frisked him because he threatened the neighbours with a knife, and he fought them because he thought they were going to kill him. Right? So he fought the police and as the father says, he thought they were going to kill him, so he was defending himself. So this is all told in past tense, right? Because all this stuff's happened. So they're interviewing the father now about this stuff, and he's still saying the same thing. The reason the guy fought was he thought the police were going to kill him. And all this stuff that the father says and the son says and everything they do is the same shit that we see on the TV, on the news, on YouTube, and all over the place, happening with the same paranoid, delusional people that instead of looking at something and seeing it for what it really is, there was no fucking conspiracy going on in these assholes' lives. It was the kid took a knife to school and stabbed someone in the leg, so he got into trouble for it. Actually, he ended up not going to jail because he threw the knife away and they couldn't find it, so he ended up not going to jail. But, it was a big conspiracy. No, he took a knife to school, he stabbed someone in the leg, so he got in trouble for it. He threatened the neighbours, his grandmother's neighbours, with a knife, and they called the police, so he got in trouble for it. They had problems with their house, they had all rubbish in the front yard, garbage in the front yard, and the place was a mess. And they had a 12-year history of building code violations from the city for all this dangerous condition that the house was in, and unclean condition the house was in. There was no conspiracy. The house was a pigsty, and they didn't fix it. They just kept getting penalties for it and problems with the city. And then eventually there's this enforcement guy that works for the city, a family guy, a really nice guy, a really nice story. They tell his story, and he's a really nice guy too. And he turns up there one day to take photos of the place. And the son basically runs inside, gets his gun, because of course he has a fucking gun in the house, doesn't he? Runs inside, gets his fucking gun, runs outside and shoots this poor bastard 20 times or something and fucking kills him. just fucking ridiculous. Really frustrating thing to watch because you can just see all the way through what's happening. You know, if the kid didn't, if the father told the kid, it's really the father's fault more than the kid's. If the father had told the kid, don't be taking knives to school, if the father, and after he did and stabbed someone with it, the father said, look, you're not to be carrying knives, you're not to be stabbing people, you know, you've got to take responsibility for your actions and stop doing, you know, things and blaming everybody else, then it would have been hit on the head early on, it wouldn't have been a problem, but instead it was the opposite. The father was one of these fucking nut job conspiracists. And look, again, I know there's real conspiracies, I know there's real secret shit and there's real conspiracies. You know, any time that two or more people make a secret agreement to do something secretively, it's a fucking conspiracy. So of course there's conspiracies, but I'm talking about these insane, you know, bullshit, just no common sense, no accepting reality, no taking responsibility for yourself, bullshit, lunatic, paranoid, conspiracy, bullshit, nut jobs, you know? And that's what this father was and is. He still is. He still fucking is. He still fucking is. And so his son shoots down this innocent family man on the street outside his house. And the paramedic or the emergency medic that they call, that gets called to the scene, is the guy's father. The guy that was shot, the guy that worked for the city, his father came to the scene and basically watched him die in front of him. And the father of the shooter, the paranoid conspiracy nutjob fuckwit, in the interview now says, you know, you can't imagine what I went through watching my son arrested and take away and fighting for his life. So even after all this, this arsehole programmed his son with all this paranoid delusional shit. The end result of that was that guy shoots an innocent man for taking photos of their house, and even after all that, this guy still doesn't take responsibility for it, has no compassion for the guy that was shot or for his family, for anybody else, or even his own son. All he's talking about is his own feelings about it, how he felt, how badly he felt about it all. So just a really, really disturbing thing to watch. You know, it's actually a series about murders, about people getting killed, and it's always a disturbing thing to watch any story where someone ends up dying. You know, but this one was particularly frustrating because it was so obvious that it was coming. It was so obvious what was happening, and it was such a waste. And it was all as a result of this paranoid, delusional fucking conspiracy nut job bullshit. You know. The paranoid, and what happens is these things are self-fulfilling prophecies. If you behave in this way, you know, if you behave in this way where you're totally convinced the world's all against you, so you arm yourself with guns and, you know, they're going to have to prise the gun out of my cold dead hands, and if you live in that way, you'll back yourself into a corner where eventually some of this shit's going to happen. It's just, it's that behavior that causes it to happen. You know, there's the people that behave, first of all, obey the law. The reason that these guys' lives turned to shit wasn't because of any conspiracy. It was because they kept breaking the freaking law. If they didn't break the law in the first place, and then again, when they do have, we've talked about this on videos before as well, when they do have dealings with authorities, just deal with the authorities. You know, just this bullshit with fighting authority all the time. You know, look, improving the laws is where we improve our society. You know, fighting the individual people who work for the public service is just a total waste of time. It doesn't fucking achieve anything. It's just paranoid bullshit. It's just unpleasant crap, and it creates its own shit. You know, there's been another big outbreak on YouTube recently of these fucking idiots with refusing to answer the police's questions and bullshit. You know, you get pulled up by the cops, they ask to see your driver's license, you show them your driver's license, you answer their 5 questions. Where have you been? Oh, just down there. Where are you going? I'm going down there. You don't have to tell them anything personal. Just answer the questions. You're gone in 30 seconds. But the guys that sit there and refuse to answer any questions and carry on like assholes are there for 12 minutes, 15 minutes. Makes an entertaining YouTube video for conspiracy nuts, but it's just It creates the drama. Instead of a 30-second delay, it becomes a 15-minute delay, and it is a big deal. I wouldn't want to sit there for 15 minutes either. Answer the fucking question, show your driver's license, drive away. You know, it's just got out of hand. You know, the common sense thing again, we've got to put the light of common sense. If we think that there's laws that need to be changed, do something about changing the laws. You know, campaign to not vote for the assholes that allow it to happen, and to start voting for the people that won't let it happen, right? You know, use the democratic systems that we've got in place in the countries we live in to change some shit. But this paranoid fucking everybody's out to get me bullshit, you know? You know, you got to, I'll put a link under this video. But be prepared. If you're a rational, sane person, be prepared to get frustrated. You know? And just have a look. And if you are a conspiracy person who thinks there's a conspiracy behind every tree, just watch this and look and try and be open-minded about it and look at the result. Look at the result. You can see there's one person responsible for all the tragedy that goes on in that story, and it's the father. It's the father, because instead of taking responsibility for his own life and telling his son to take responsibility for his own life and his own actions, he's blaming everybody else. And it's all a fucking conspiracy, and it's all everybody else. This guy's got a conspiracy going on in his head where it's the police are involved, the city's involved, all different departments are involved. There's another private company that told his son that he'd have a job, and then it turned out to only be a part-time job, and he's in the conspiracy as well. And everybody, the neighbours, everybody, anybody that causes them any hassle at all is in on the conspiracy. You know, come on. I know these videos. These videos are just. It's just a scream. It's a scream out to the people, just because I think we need to. I just think that it's probably a waste of time. It's probably a waste of time, but I think that if the only people making videos and talking and blogging and whatever else that they're doing, talking to the world, if the only people doing that are the conspiracy nutjobs, the extremists, then we're not getting a balanced discussion happening. Those people are welcome to have their freedom of speech, and of course they can do it too, you know. But the reason I make these videos is that I think more people who want to put the spotlight of common sense and the spotlight of reality onto these situations are required. We need more, you know, accepting what is reality. Conspiracies exist, but let's be realistic about what is actually a conspiracy and what isn't. You know, let's be realistic about that. You know, and there's things about the laws that need to be changed. Well, let's get on and change them. You know, let's campaign against the people that allow things to happen we don't like, and campaign for the people who are going to stop that happening. You know, are going to make the laws, change the laws to protect the things that we want protecting, and the important parts of our society. You know, let's use the democratic process. Let's speak up and do it. But let's be realistic. Let's be realistic about this shit. It's just got ridiculous. And it's making problems. The paranoia and the conspiracy bullshit and the fucking gun shit. I'm sick of the fucking guns. I'm sick of the fucking guns. It's just bullshit. There's another fucking example. If that guy had run into the house and got a knife and come running out, then the poor bastard would have had a chance. You know, all these dickheads, I'm sorry guys, but I'm over it. Dickheads that go on about, oh, you could use a knife or a baseball bat if he wants to, or a car or something. Yeah, that's true. He could have run in and got a car or a baseball bat or a fucking knife and run out, but the poor bastard out on the street would have had a better chance, wouldn't he? Then he comes out with a 9mm and 2 magazines. The poor bastard on the street had no chance. So, you know, fuck. What was a fucking idiot like that? Apparently his father had taken most of his guns away, but he still had a 9mm left. Dear oh dear. So even his father knew that he shouldn't have been around guns because he removed all the others, but he was still left with a 9mm and 2 magazines. Enough to kill a person, you know, 20 times over, really. So, yeah, I guess the reason I made this video is just because I think it needs to be said. You know, let's be realistic. And I know there's a whole heap of conspiracy nuts and people that don't like this. What I'm saying is really unpopular. There's no doubt about it. That these days, being anti-police, anti-establishment, conspiracy-believing, conspiracy-speaking person is much more popular in public areas like YouTube. Look at videos that, you know, by people that are talking about the conspiracies and the down with the police, and the police are corrupt and everything's a conspiracy and everything's, you know, all that, our rights and all. People make those videos, they're the most popular videos. Videos like this are really unpopular. I lose subscribers every time I make a video like this because there's a whole heap of people don't want to hear this shit. So that's fine. Fuck off. Want to unsubscribe? Unsubscribe. But I don't care. And people that leave abusive comments below aimed at me, I will delete and block. Because I think that this needs to be said. I think that some people need to stand up and say, let's be realistic, let's put the spotlight of common sense. Conspiracies exist, that's a conspiracy. All this other shit is not a conspiracy. For every 100 conspiracy fucking theories out there, you know, one of them's true. The other 99 are just fucking bullshit. You know, and we need to be realistic about that. And all this crap about pro-guns and everything else, I'm sick of being diplomatic about that shit. If there was less guns, there'd be less people getting fucking killed. There needs to be less guns. So I'll put a link under this video to that documentary. So I encourage you to watch it because I think it would, some people will probably feel as I do after they've seen it. Some won't. Some will probably think that the conspiracies are all true. More videos coming soon.